right, so let's just talk about charcuterie boards because this has certainly been a really big trend the last couple of years. And the picture that was posted, it was so like over the top, right? And I just want to tell you that it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can order a charcuterie board like that, and I would guess probably that one would easily run you $300. You could probably make one of that uh, kind for about half of that price. But it is, it is not a cheap thing to make. So if you ever order one, don't be surprised at the price because they usually require a lot of specialty things. But for me to make one, like we have done it for a lot of times when we're going out on the boat, we'll take a charcuterie board, or if we're just lounging around on a sunny night when our kids are here visiting, we love to make them. And we tend to keep it pretty simple. So the thing to start with is you want to have some sort of platter or plate that you can make it on. And of course, any platter or plate will work. But some of the fun things that I would suggest, one of the really fun things to make a charcuterie board on is actually a pizza peel. So if you have a pizza peel, just pull that baby out, make sure it's nice and clean. You might want to oil it if it's looking a little sad. And that pizza peels actually make really great charcuterie boards. Another thing you can use is just a really big hardwood cutting board. Something like this can also be a really lovely base for your charcuterie board. My personal favorites are trays like these. This actually is a set of 2 trays. And then I love Lazy Susan, and this is actually where I'm going to put our cheese tonight, because you can spin it, and that makes it a lot of fun. So the idea for me with a charcuterie board is to have a fair amount of variety, and it's kind of a nip and bit or bite kind of thing. It's not meant to fill your plate. Kind of thing, although you certainly could. So the first thing I would say is just don't get too stressed out about what's on it. Pick what you like, pick what you think your friends and family are going to like, and just keep it simple. And like I said a minute ago, my favorite thing is really just when I'm making a charcuterie board, it's when I buy the things that I would never normally buy. Like I would never normally buy this. This is 26-month aged cheddar. That's, I don't even know how much, $18 a pound, right? I would not buy this for everyday cooking, but I'll buy it for a charcuterie board because it's just fun. It's different. It's so good. Another thing I would never normally buy are these are truffle sea salt macaroni, I'm sorry, truffle salt Marcona almonds. I'll get that out right. So yummy. Not something I would normally have in the house. So the basic ingredients of a good charcuterie board are going to be your meats and your cheeses, some crackers, and either some dips or some things like olives and sweet peppers and things like that. So that's basically what we have here tonight. And what I said a minute ago is I'm actually going to build it with a cheese board and then like a cracker and meat board. This little guy, both of these are actually oven safe. So if I were doing a brie, I might put it on here and pop it in the oven and add my crackers. Not doing that tonight, but that would be another option. And so for our cheese board, I mentioned this cheddar, and if you're going to spend a lot of money on cheddar cheese, and a really good place to find amazing cheddar cheese are at your like Mennonite and Amish markets. Somebody had cheese at a party I was at a couple weeks ago that was aged something crazy, like 18 years aged cheese. And she'd gotten it at an Amish market, like I think maybe about an hour from here. But when you use a really aged, sharp cheese like this, you're going to want to, I'm not liking that now, you're going to want to let it set out and let it come to room temperature, because it actually tastes a lot better at room temperature, and you get the really deep flavor of the cheese. And one of the things you can do is you don't have to cut it all up, especially depending on how many people you're going to have at your gathering. You don't need to slice it all. And I actually slice these kind of thick. I probably would do them thinner on a different day. Okay, so that's going to be the center of our cheese board here. And then we're going to add, I've got some blue cheese here, just plain old mild blue cheese, which happens to be my favorite thing in the world. I'm going to just set this over here. And again, when you get these aged cheeses, they just taste really good at room temperature. So it's okay to let them set out for a while before you're going to actually use them. I had picked up this one, and then I found what I really wanted, which is it's wine soaked. It's called Bella Vitano Pinot Noir cheese. So it's some sort of cheddar-y kind of cheese, but it's not cheddar. It's Bella whatever. I should have asked my husband. He would know the answers to these things. So we're going to just set this one over here, like so. And then I have two others. So we're going to skip that one for now. That's actually a goat cheese. So again, any excuse to buy fun things. These are mozzarella balls. And what I recommend is rather than getting the ones that are in the milk or in the water in the whey, these little pre-wrapped ones are super handy. I think they taste better, honestly. And then if you don't use them all, the rest of the bag is just wrapped, and I'll keep that in the fridge. And these are great for snacking. So I'm not going to put that other cheese out there because I had to kind of overkill going here on the cheeses. But there is our cheese board for now. So I'll lift it up so y'all can see it. And again, just kind of simple. And then one thing that's fun to do if you have it, and you can get these like at probably at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, is if you can get little sticks and label your cheeses. And that's just kind of fun. Absolutely not necessary. You could make little tent cards out of like if you have index cards laying around, something like that. But if you have them, it's fun to just have those little markers on it. Okay, so now our main platter is going to be our cheese and crackers. And I like to just kind of keep it simple. What I like to do on the main platter is just create rows of the meats and then fill it in with crackers and fruit. This is sopressata. And again, trying to find a variety of different types of meats. So some of them are spicier than others. And everybody seems to have their favorite. And different sizes are fun too. And if you really want to get creative, I don't think I'm going to get there tonight, but you can even make like little florets out of these little guys. Just fold them into little effect. I can manage that. Make these little florets, and it just looks that extra little step that makes it look like you worked really hard. And all I'm doing is folding these in half. It's not that hard. So I would love for you guys to unmute and just give a shout out to, like, you have a favorite kind of salami or a favorite kind of cheese that you would absolutely have on that cheese board or over here. They're going up in the chat, so I'll check that here in a minute. Okay, so there's our sopressata. Do recommend having a nice, clean, wet washcloth handy because these are very, very, what's the word I want? I don't want to say greasy. Okay, this is Rosette de Leon, so I'm not really sure what kind of, it says an uncured salami. And then I've got a chorizo in here that looks amazing. One other thing I would strongly recommend is save your containers. Unless you have a big crowd, there's a good chance you might end up with leftovers. And these salamis will last quite a long time in your fridge. So save your containers until you're sure you don't need them, because they just store nicely in there. And you'll remember what they are too, you know, in case that's important to you. All right, and then we've got some chorizo here, my husband's favorite, and this looks kind of spicy. A burrico, I'm sure I'm not saying that correctly. If there's an Italian in the house, please feel free to correct me. But it's very colorful, looks really pretty. So it's gonna make another row. with that. So I have to tell you about Charcuterie Sunday and my daughter, both of my daughters are, well, and my son, they're all very much into charcuterie trays. My older daughter, who has our three oldest grandchildren, she makes charcuterie boards for the kids for lunches. But she uses muffin tins. And so she'll put like all these different, cheese in some, and usually like baby carrots and some hummus. And the kids just think it's great. So she'll make a nice charcuterie board for the adults. And then the kids get muffin tins with their own kind of charcuterie in it. And they just think it's the bee's knees. So it's very clever. Our younger daughter, when she and her husband were living with us the summer before they moved overseas, that's when we started doing what we call Charcuterie Sundays. So that was the summer, just 2 summers ago, that we bought our first boat, our starter boat. This, by the way, is prosciutto. Can you see how thin that is? This is my favorite. You can roll this around mozzarella sticks. People really like that a lot. I am not one of those people though, so I just roll it up and make little logs with it. It also can be done in rosette style, which is very pretty. Or actually Hannah, my daughter, she just kind of piles it, makes little piles out of it, which is not a bad idea because it's so thin, it tears real easy, and I'm tearing it. So you can even just kind of scrunch it up and make like little piles of it, almost like these guys, but slightly different. And sometimes it actually comes that way. So anyhow, so the summer before the kids moved, we bought this, we call it our starter boat. I always say it's sort of like that starter car you buy for your 16-year-old. It runs really solid, but it's not much to look at. And we would spend every Sunday afternoon after church, we would head up to Seneca Lake for the afternoon. And we started doing what we called Charcuterie Sunday. So we would pack a cooler and we'd have, somebody would be in charge of it each week, and we'd have charcuterie, and we'd bring lemonade and iced tea and all the good stuff onto the boat, and we'd just go anchor the boat about a couple miles into the lake, spend the whole afternoon eating our charcuterie, sipping our cold beverages, and just enjoying the summer. Well, then they moved overseas that September, and my husband and I, we decided to keep Charcuterie Sunday going because, we missed them. It was kind of a fun tradition we'd started, and it was now football season. So what better way to spend the Sunday afternoon but watching football and eating charcuterie? Well, this was a really good plan and a very tasty plan until I went to get my physical the next January, and my cholesterol had gone through the roof. And my doctor was just like, okay, that's really high. And I said, I know exactly what it is. It's all those charcuterie Sundays. So I'm just going to tell you right now, if you like to adopt the Charcuterie Sunday idea, just beware that your cholesterol might go through the roof. All right, what did I do with my crackers? So again, this to me is a great excuse to buy those fun little crackers. If you have a Trader Joe's near you, which there's one up in Ithaca near me, not really near me, but that's the closest one. Rebecca, down in North Carolina, I don't know if you have them. Margaret Slavish, yeah, I can't imagine you have TJ's near you, but those of us who know and love TJ's, they have these really great olive bee kinds of crackers that my daughters will often bring for our Charcuterie Sunday. Just an assorted cracker tray will do the trick to give different options. And you can include things like a spread. I don't have a spread tonight, but hummus is a very popular thing to put on the charcuterie trays. It's really up to you what you put out. So again, I'm just going to kind of fill in on the sides here with crackers of various kinds. This is actually when I usually buy the Pepperidge Farm ones that have the little butterflies, but I could not find them today. So I don't know if they were out. Somebody had a run on Pepperidge Farm crackers today. I don't know why. I'm getting this great fritz going on. every now and again when I get too close to my phone. So I don't know what's going on, but at least you guys aren't here yet. So if you see me jump, that's just like kind of crazy. These are peppadews, which is one of my favorite things to have on the tray. Actually, I'm going to put this over with cheese. And then I've got like just a mixed olive kind of, it was called what was it called? Provolone salad. So it's just a very Italian. It's got olives, it's got cheese, some sort of pepper, different kinds of olives, a little bit of olive oil all mixed in there. I find these things in the cheese department at Wegmans, but you can find them in a lot of grocery stores these days. Even Aldi's can have a pretty decent selection of things for a charcuterie board, and their cheeses are actually really good. Trader Joe's cheeses are really good as well. But Wegmans is always my go-to. Okay, we're gonna finish this up with some nuts. I'm just gonna sprinkle these down the center of these rows. These are the macaron or marcona, and these are the caramelized pecans. Now, these you can make at home, pretty easy. I wasn't home long enough today to do it, but you can toss, I have a recipe. So if you want the recipe, just give me a shout out. Shoot me a private message on Facebook so I don't miss it. And I'll send you the recipe for doing caramelized pecans, because you can do it pretty quickly in a toaster oven or an air fryer. They're real easy. So, I mean, you can buy them or you can probably make your own for a little less money. I knew I had a couple money saving tips. That was one. Talked about the mozzarella balls. Thinking I had one more money saving tip. I don't know what it was. All right, the last thing we're going to add are some grapes, and I forgot to bring my scissors nearby. So we're going to just try to cut these off in little stems for people to just grab a few. Grapes are wonderful to not just kind of fill in the center of our tray, but they make a lovely garnish. So if you had extra room on your cheese tray, maybe you only had 2 or 3 cheeses and you're like, oh, it looks very, very, empty, then that's where you throw in the grapes, because they'll just fill in all kinds of places and people love the grapes. And the grapes actually work really well as kind of a palate cleanser for between your cheeses. So if you have something really strong and then you want to kind of get the flavor out of your mouth so you can taste another piece better, then that's where grapes come in handy. Having some spreaders. This is like a cheese wedge, which I'll put here on that one. This can go in with the salad. I don't have hummus tonight, but or like a brie is another one that's really popular. That would go. So you can get these little guys.
I like the grapes and the nuts because they add to everything. They just add that sweetness or whatever to your meat and cheese. So
yeah.
No, I thought yours were lovely.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take pictures.
We did it for Era's graduation party, and we did grapes, like you'd said, and that really did fill things out nice. And we also did dried fruit like apricot, and they really liked that. And
then, my kids will do dried fruit. Yeah. It's such a hard thing because there's so many options, right? And like, I've been at the grocery store this afternoon going, I can't spend $200 on this. So, all right. Well, if you guys, do you have any questions? No? Okay.
No,
well, thanks for joining me live. I'm sorry, what did you say, Kim?
I said I definitely want to find those little serving pieces like you had. That would have been nice to have, the wedge to cut the cheese and the spreaders and stuff. They're cool.
They are. I do want to do a little prize drawing here. So let me just go to my thing.
Can you send the pecan caramelization recipe?
I sure can. It's actually from an old salad. I have a delay on the sound, so it's the weirdest thing. Sorry. Right. All right. I'm going to give you numbers. Judy's number 1. Kim is 2. Margaret, you're 3. Rebecca, you're 4. Hi, Christine. I haven't even said hi yet. You're number 5. Okay. And our winner is Rebecca. Number 4, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yay! Okay. I need you to send me your address in private message. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I haven't even had a chance to look in my bag of goodies, but I will find you something appropriate and stick it in the mail. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. All right, you guys. I did record it. I'll do a little editing and post the video hopefully tomorrow. And have a great evening.